Michigan has gotten their way with Ohio State in this rivalry the last couple of years. Is Ohio State going to make it a fourth straight year that they get owned by Michigan? To me, if I'm being honest with you guys, there's no reason why Ohio State should lose to Michigan this year. And I think this season, the Buckeyes are going to remind everybody why recruiting and having talent in college football matters so much. You see, what Michigan fans keep, you know, what Michigan fans keep bragging about is how, man, we've been able to dominate the Big Ten and make it to the playoffs the last couple of years, despite not being able to recruit as good as Ohio State. We don't need to recruit well to win. We win the way that we play football, and that's all that we need, which is true and false in a sense. Yes, every team is able to win differently. Every program has their own kind of identity that they play into that helps them win. But eventually, with college football being built upon the back of recruiting, and the teams that normally win championships are the teams that have recruited well and have one of the better assembled rosters in the sport, it's going to come back to bite Michigan in the butt that they haven't been able to recruit at the elite level as compared to Ohio State. And with Ohio State this year pretty much being loaded at damn near every position, offensive line is stacked, quarterback is going to be really good, wide receiver, you're going to have a really good defensive line. With the coaching staff that Ohio State has in place, okay, you got Jim Knowles. We know he's one of the best DCs in America, but now you add Chip Kelly to that mix. You're going to have pretty much the best coaching staff in college football this year. Meanwhile, Michigan has a completely new coaching staff. Yeah, you got Sharon Moore, who had some experience briefly being the head coach and replacer Jim Harbaugh when he was serving that suspension last year. He did win some big games, but that doesn't mean that with Jim Harbaugh being gone, Michigan is going to pick up from where they left off last year. And there seems to be a lot of disrespect thrown at Ryan Day when we're acting like this dude doesn't have anything less than 10 losses on his resume. At worst, Ryan Day is going to give you a 10, 11 win season, and yet we're looking at him like he's just some garbage head coach, and he's unable of being able to turn this rivalry around in Ohio State's favor again, when we seem to forget not too long ago, before Michigan started running this thing, Ohio State was running Michigan out the damn door in these rivalry matchups. I would never forget those Urban Meyer teams that were running through those Jim Harbaugh coached Michigan teams. What made Urban Meyer's era of Ohio State football so memorable as compared to Ryan Day? Well, the lack of physicality that Ohio State has had in this game has hurt them. Every time you see Michigan play these boys, it's always a mismatch up front. I don't care what the stats show. Ohio State just isn't able to match Michigan's level of intensity and toughness in the trenches. And that's where they lose and win these games. However, this season, though, the tables are going to turn. With Chip Kelly, what has he done his last couple of years at UCLA? He went from being known as a finesse coach back at Oregon to being a coach that put a lot of emphasis on being good up front and being able to establish a toughness on the ground. You got Travion Henderson, Quinshawn Judkins. This is the best running back core maybe in recent memory. When's the last time we've seen a team in college football have this good of a 1-2 punch out running back? I think the way they're going to rotate Quinshawn Judkins and Travion Henderson is that every game they're going to alternate between being the starting running back, and they're going to alternate between series. One series, Travion Henderson is going to get the bulk load of the touches. The next series, Quinshawn Judkins is going to get the bulk load of the touches. With having Chip Kelly reunite with his former offensive line coach, you're going to see an offense that's going to be able to match the toughness that Michigan has had in this game the last couple of years. And I eventually would like to believe that recruiting matters so much in college football when you got these programs spending so much money on it. They're buying these recruits Lambos, they're flying them out on private jets for recruiting visits. You mean to tell me that Michigan can continue to sustain their style of winning without being able to recruit at the level that Ohio State does? Bullshit. Eventually, Ohio State's ability to recruit better than Michigan is going to show. Ohio State is recruiting at pretty much a top 5 level consistently every single year. Their recruiting under Ryan Day has been miles better than what it ever was under Urban Meyer. Recruiting matters in college football, and you cannot ignore that. Michigan is replacing nearly their whole entire team from last year, plus their head coach and Jim Harbaugh. You mean to tell me that Sharon Moore is going to pick up from where the best head coach in Michigan's program history left off? I have a hard time seeing that. This year, Ohio State is about to give Michigan and their fan base a big reality check this year. And I don't have anything against Michigan fans. I love all you Michigan fans that are subscribed to the channel. You feel me? But let's not act like this fan base hasn't become a little bit obnoxious over the last couple of years, man. Like, I'm trying to keep my bias out of this, but I'll be lying to you if I tell you that I wouldn't be happier than seeing Ohio State knock these boys off. Really, I mean, it really made me feel some kind of way when you have Michigan fans trying to victimize themselves, talking about it's Michigan versus everybody, when you cheated. You cheated, bro. Nobody's against you. You caused that by cheating, bro. You never should have had Connor Stallions videotaping those coaches when they were calling in the plays, man. You know that was against the rules. Even though everybody else is doing it, you were the one who got caught. Stop trying to make it seem like people had it out for you. You got caught cheating. You're getting what you deserve. I really hope that Ohio State humbles Michigan in this fan base, bro, because this has easily become the most intolerable fan base in college football, bro. Like, they're victimizing themselves. They make it seem like you can still be a national championship contender without recruiting at a high level. You're not Georgia. You're not. You are not in a position where you simply just reload and you just don't have to rebuild. Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, they can do that. They don't have to rebuild. They can reload on talent because of how well they recruit. You don't. And this season, I really believe that Ohio State is going to expose the glaring weakness that Michigan's football program has had, which is the lack of ability to recruit at elite level. I'm not about to call Michigan some juggernaut program just because they beat up on the Big Ten the last couple of years. They need to prove to us that they can be able to recruit at the same level of Ohio State. Jim Harbaugh is the greatest head coach they've ever had. He's gone now. It's fair to believe that Ryan Day is going to end up running this game over Sharon Moore the next couple of years. The game is going to become a one-sided affair once again in the favor of Ohio State, because I don't think that Michigan has the talent to beat this year's Ohio State team. And Ohio State, you know, where they've come up short at in this game, despite being the more talented team the last couple of times they played, is that Ohio State now is able to beat Michigan at their own game, which is they're going to be able to push them around, or they're going to be able to be just as physical as what Michigan has been against them the last couple of years. That's the one thing that Ohio State has lacked in this game that they are going to have going into this season. Keep thinking that Chip Kelly is overrated offensive coordinator all you want to. The last thing you ever should have allowed to happen was Ohio State to hire Chip Kelly as their offensive play caller and to give him arguably the most talented offense in college football. Chip Kelly has the load of riches. The reason why his offenses at UCLA weren't that great was because they weren't always stacked with the necessary talent to be great. At Ohio State, I mean, this dude is going to be scheming guys wide open. He's going to have Will Howard playing like a legit Heisman contender this year. If I was a Michigan fan, I would be ready to prepare for our run of dominance over Ohio State in the Big Ten to end this season. Ohio State is going to give this Michigan fan base and that program a reality check that, hey, we need to recruit better. We need to step our game up if we want to sustain the level of play that we had under Jim Harbaugh. Like, I love how these Michigan fans keep forgetting how Ohio State was easily running this rivalry every time they played before the last couple of years transpired. This is still a way more talented team than what Michigan is, especially going into this year with them not returning a lot of production. Having a new coaching staff in place, I love for Ohio State to give Michigan the beating that they so well deserve and to give them a reality check to put them back in their place, to remind them, hey, like, if you want to be able to compete with the big boys consistently, you got to be able to recruit better. Everybody has their style of winning in college football. That's what makes this sport so great. But you still have to be able to recruit at a high level if you want to be in the conversation to win a national title at the end of the year. One season of you not having a top 10 roster, winning a national championship doesn't exclude all the previous years when teams that have recruited at a top 8 level or better have won a natty. Ohio State, though, they're about to remind us all why talent in college football and why recruiting effectively is important to establishing yourself as a consistent national championship contender.